What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Kind of Funny Screencast. As always, I'm Tim Gettys, and I am joined by the big dog, Kevin Coelho.
What's up, dude?
The boss baby himself, sad boy Barrett.
Yo, yo.
And GameSpot's own Chastity Vicencio.
Hey, how's it going?
Give her the claps, guys. Give her the claps.
Good to be back. Good to be back.
This might be your Screencast debut, I think.
It is. Mm-hmm.
But you've, of course, been on many of our shows before. But you're going to be joining us as we review The Mandalorian.
I'm
season
so
2.
excited. I'm excited. I got my baby Yoda.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love it. What happened to our baby Yoda?
I don't.
You
So
know?
I've hit up Greg about it multiple times, and he said, "Oh, it hasn't come yet. It's still coming."
Which one did you get? Did you get the animatronic?
Oh no,
We got the life
It was like
size one.
$300, like
Dang.
screen accurate. That's not true.
That was earlier this year though. That was like back in January. So I wonder if
I think
COVID stuff pushed it back.
I think it was supposed to come out
Possibly.
in November.
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
Well, I hope that he's out there somewhere. I hope someone's keeping him safer than the Mandalorian seems to want to keep the real baby Yoda. But we're going to talk about that stuff later. This is Kind of Funny Screencast, so we got to talk about all of the news that you were looking for in the entertainment sphere. You can watch this show live on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames, or you can watch it later on youtube.com/kindoffunny or roosterteeth.com. If you want to listen to it as a podcast, just search your favorite podcast service for Kinda Funny Screencast, and we'll be right there for you. One more link to pimp out, and that is patreon.com/kindoffunny, where you can go to get the show ad-free, and you could also be a Patreon producer like James Davis at James Davis Makes and Andrew Feisner did. We love and appreciate both of you so very, very much. Thank you for everything you do. Kev, what's that behind you right now?
What's what behind me?
On your chair?
Oh, it's our jacket.
Oh, is that the PS I Love You bomber jacket? Wow.
It's so cool.
Wow. Oh, are those PlayStation controllers on the sleeve? Does that go from the PS1 all the way down to the PS4 controller? Oh,
I'm so excited to get
Oh
mine.
my goodness.
Yeah,
Looking so hot in
kindoffunny.com/store, baby. Let's go. That's where you want to go. Anyways, let's get into the news. Enough of all of the shilling. Netflix is increasing its prices. This comes from The Verge.
Again.
Oh, yeah. Again, baby. Netflix is introducing price hikes for its U.S. subscribers today, increasing its standard plan to $14 a month and its premium tier to $18 a month. We're getting up there, man. The new pricing for the standard plan is a $1 price increase from $13 a month, while the new premium tier cost is a $2 increase. New subscribers will have to pay the updated monthly fees, while current subscribers will see the new prices over the next few weeks as they roll out with customers' billing cycles. Industry insiders have long anticipated another round of price hikes at Netflix, which last increased subscription fees in the U.S. in 2019. Recently, Netflix increased the cost of some plans in Canada, but Netflix rolls out countries at different times, and a Netflix spokesperson has said that they don't look at it as a whole. They very much look at it as a region by region situation. The goal was to have so many hits that when you come to Netflix, you can just go from hit to hit to hit and never have to think about any other service. That is the strategy we're going to use going forward, and we think that it's going to work even if we're going to lose some subscribers. Netflix U.S. price hikes could boost 2021 revenue by $500 million, even with subscription cancellations, analysts say. Where are you guys at with this?
They're doing it because they can.
Yeah.
They're number one. They're top dog in the streaming game right now. They're just doing it because they can. And will we pay? Absolutely we will. Like, it's just something I can't not have.
It's
Chastity,
like
at what point is it not worth it to you? Or do you think that it could reach a point with Netflix's offering?
It depends on like what they have coming up next, and if I've watched everything I've wanted to watch. But yeah, there's probably a limit where I'd be like, nah, that's ridiculous. And also, I just don't like spending too much money. But I'm not sure what the number would be. How about you guys?
Well, I was just gonna say, like, this is all, like, it's crazy how, the whole, like, if you want to cook a frog, you put him in room temperature and then boil it up. And it's like, that's what's, like, I don't think right now if someone was like, hey, you have to pay $18.
Hold on. Kev,
wait,
I'm
hold
sorry.
on.
I'm
You've
sorry.
never heard that? You've never heard that?
I'm not. No, I know what you're referencing.
Yeah.
But the way that you said it and, like, how
I'm
you
not
set
great
it
at
up.
saying things. I'm not great at saying things. But, like, it's just one of those things, like, right now, if you were like, hey, do you think you would pay $18 for the, like, top tier Netflix? I would have been like, no way. And like, when I originally signed up for it was I think $12, and now it's like,
it was
oh, it's
low
going
down
up.
there.
It's going up $2. That sucks. But it's like, man, it's crazy how this works, and there's just nothing we can do. I'm not gonna cancel my Netflix.
The thing is, you said it went up $2 for the premium, right, Tim?
As American,
Like it's not such a big jump, but it is like I think it's just been something that has been happening over and over again over time. That like now we've realized like, oh shit, we're paying $18 a month for Netflix. What is happening? And so like I feel like I'm close to my limit, honestly, because there's so many other subscriptions that I'm like juggling through, and I think they're like, as far as like original Netflix content goes, like I don't know if there's really any like hit after hit after hit that I'm paying attention to that's Netflix specific, you know?
well, I feel like they're all spaced out too. Like where it's like what Stranger Things. Like, we love Stranger
make
Things.
so much stuff, and also they've canceled like 20 to 25.
Yeah, so much of
series
their
this
stuff.
year.
Yeah.
And like the show that I cared about the most, Mindhunter, is forever gone. So
love
like
Mindhunter.
you
No,
really lost
but
me
it
there.
wasn't canceled. It's just where like the director was like, it's gonna be a while till we do it again.
No, like I think it was like Netflix like opted out of any like future seasons or something like that. And then like you get me with like The Politician and some other shows, but yeah, they just I don't feel like the ones that I really care about come as frequently. That like, does Netflix do any like weird thing where like if you unsubscribe you can't like resubscribe to them for a bit or anything like that? Kind of like
I don't
what
think so.
No.
like
Never unplugged,
AMC
so I
does
have no
something weird
idea.
like that, right? So
Well,
it
AMC's
might have
like,
to be
hey,
soon.
you're punished. You're punished.
Yeah.
We'll see you in 6 months when you've thought of your decision.
Exactly. So I feel like Netflix might have to start being the thing that like I cancel, and then whenever something like Alyssa and I both really love, we'll get it for like the month or something like that. But yeah,
Well,
I think I'm getting to my breaking point with Netflix.
Barrett, what is your like default streaming service? Like when you're bored, what do you turn on? You
Hulu.
Hulu.
Yeah.
You're one of the only people in the world, Barrett Courtney.
That's where I get my My
Ad-free?
Hero Academia, where I can watch it over and over again.
Yeah.
Without the ads, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I feel like Netflix is the Coca-Cola of the streaming services, where it is just kind of the standard. And that's not to say there aren't other great ones out there that have amazing offerings. Hulu has great stuff every once in a while. But I think that $18 a month for what Netflix is offering is not too much. And I do think that as they've increased the prices, they've increased the amount of content that they have. And I know there's the debate of the quality quantity, but I think that they have both. They have a lot more shit than they've ever had, but they also have a lot more good stuff. And they still do have great stuff. And every once in a while, something like the documentary that just came out, the social dilemma. Yeah, it's like there'll be these like moments that like we're not expecting, we're not planning for, but they just happen. And those happen a lot. And I think when you look at the comedy specials that they add, and then for the conversation the four of us just had for the last 5 minutes, we named like 10 shows. And it's like, sure, they might have canceled 25, but we did get 3 awesome seasons of Glow. I wish we got more. But we
God,
did
it's
get
so sad they
Mindhunter.
canceled.
We did get this stuff.
Also,
but it's like,
everyone should watch Dead to Me. So good.
And also,
So
if you
good.
haven't watched BoJack, even though that's and like that's another show where it's like it's ended and like we're not going to get any more of BoJack, so that's like,
But, like,
another
it
like
ended
major
well,
show that
right?
I loved. What?
It ended well. Like you were happy. With
Oh
the ending,
yeah, it's fantastic. Like
And
the
would it go 7
penultimate
seasons?
episode is seriously one of the best episodes of television, I would say, ever. But again, that would be like a thing. Like I don't know if like having access to that all of the time really justifies me paying $18 a month. And like again, I'm not saying like fuck Netflix, I'm never going back. But it's more of a thing. Like I might have to start looking at. Okay, like we'll get this like once or twice a month throughout the year when something new comes out, and like we'll watch that new thing, and then we have a chance to rewatch stuff that we really love.
yeah, I just think that they give enough reasons to kind of catch you to you're looking forward to those 1 or 2 things to subscribe to, but the effort it would take you to go unsubscribe, by the time you're doing that, you'll see something else. You're like, oh, I guess I'm interested in watching this. Like, Kev, you had no plans on watching the Witcher series, but you did. You know what I
true.
mean? And if it wasn't on Netflix, I don't know that you would have, right?
It's
But
true.
that
I
was
wouldn't
just
have paid.
another
I wouldn't
thing.
have paid for that, and I really enjoyed it, Tim.
Yeah. And guess what? Cobra Kai season 3 and 4 coming, baby. Like, are you kidding me? Let's go. And that's a perfect example, like jokes aside, of what I'm saying, where my friends all watched Cobra Kai seasons 1 and 2 when it came on Netflix, which is the reason I got into it recently, because they're all like swearing about how good it is. And they didn't watch it when it was on YouTube. You know, but it came to Netflix and it's just presented differently. And that's just another additive thing to like just be like, oh, I guess Netflix is the default. You go on and they kind of curate for you where it's like you'll give things a shot that you wouldn't have otherwise if they were on other platforms. But at some point, I feel like they're not going to add the value on top of that $18. Like by the time they hit $25 a month, it's like, what's their content offering look like there?
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Right.
God, I hope we
and
don't
like
get there
also
for a
shout
long
out
time.
to like the other quality content, like the recent one, Trial of the Chicago 7. Like there are things like I imagine if I wasn't subscribed to Netflix, I don't know if I would have like naturally like gone on my way to try to watch that. But since I was subscribed and it was already up, I decided to check it out, and it was like one of the best movies this year. So they do have quality, but I see some people in the chat, which I kind of agree with. Like Zach Ma. Says I feel like they have one good show or movie for every like 100 pieces of trash that they kind of put up there. So.
But when they have 10,000 pieces of trash, that means there's a lot of good movies.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a numbers
And
game.
also, sometimes you want to watch trash. Like, what was that show?
Sometimes I just want to
Yeah.
watch
Too
The
hot to
Circle.
handle.
Too Hot to Handle. Thank
The
you.
Circle.
The
Let's
Circle was
Circle,
so
yeah.
good. That was
whoa,
some quality content for.
What's
Hell yeah.
the floor is lava? Hell yeah.
Real talk,
That's
though.
like
It's
true trash show.
that true trash dumb shit that it's just like it's there in addition to all of these other things. But anyways, moving on from this, more streaming news. Sony is aiming to buy Crunchyroll, which is crazy. Sony has reportedly entered into final negotiations with AT&T to acquire the US-based anime streaming service Crunchyroll. According to Nikkei Asia, Sony recently obtained exclusive rights to bid for the hugely popular streaming service and now is prepared to pay upwards of $957 million to acquire the platform, which has 70 million free members and 3 million paying subscribers signed up globally. As part of the deal, it's reported that Crunchyroll would also give Sony access to more than 1,000 anime titles. Sony previously acquired anime distributor Funimation and its 1 million subscribers back in 2017. However, the company said to now be looking to expand its customer base further by strengthening its entertainment offering to better compete with the likes of Netflix, Hulu, and all the other global streaming services. I got to say, I didn't expect Sony to get into that game. I know everyone else was, but not that I didn't expect them to want to. I just felt like the last couple of years have been so rough for Sony from the entertainment perspective that I thought they were going to partner and license with others to kind of just be like, hey, we understand where we're at with this. We can't compete. Our library just simply doesn't match.
I mean, they do own Funimation though, and I know that was like a couple of years ago. But I think I don't know if they'll do this, but like, and maybe Chastity, you might know this side a little more of like. Do we think there might be like some sort of marriage between Crunchyroll and Funimation now that they're both under Sony's house, or like because I think that would be interesting. But yeah, like I'm not super surprised that they kept going on this train because anime is fucking rad.
Yeah, they want a majority of the anime. So I'm wondering if just like someone up top like has a kid and then like they went to a meeting like, have you guys heard about anime? Like we should get in on this.
I bet you someone got into the meeting and was like, look at these numbers.
Guys.
Look at these numbers. People like this anime stuff.
They love it. They love it.
Yeah.
And they probably mispronounced it. But I think Crunchyroll and Funimation actually did cross over for a bit in terms of like dubbing and sub like release stuff. But
I think that was back in
stopped.
2016 because we
that
partnered
stopped.
with them back then. Yeah, because I think that had to do with AT&T buyouts and VRV coming into play at some point. So then they got split.
Right.
And that's always been the biggest bummer is like being an anime fan's hard because the content is so divided across the different platforms. And okay, you get the subbed here, you get the dubbed there, but you have to wait for it in this territory and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. If they were all in one place, I do think that would be best for the users, you know, people that are actually just trying to watch the content. Being under Sony, I don't know that's necessarily where I want it because to me, you need the the platform that works. You need the video player that's a good experience, right? And
Yes.
in my experience, Crunchyroll has not been that answer. And Funimation stuff has definitely not been that answer. So I would much rather this go to a Netflix, right? Imagine if Netflix bought Crunchyroll, or imagine, with a player that just works, right?
Then I feel a little better about that $18.
And
Yeah,
then there you go.
I feel like they have been expanding their like anime arm. Like I've been getting a lot
Oh, yeah.
of recommendations where I'm like,
Yeah, they're
oh,
going
that's
heavy
interesting.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah. It would be cool to like have the backlog on Netflix, but if Netflix was heading any new content above Crunchyroll, I would not feel great about it, not feel confident in what Netflix could lead them to do. Yeah, I don't know.
Why?
It's
They have like unlimited money.
yeah, they cancel a lot of shows. I feel like their relationship with trying original anime content hasn't been like the best. That's just my opinion. So I don't know. Like,
Is Castlevania still going? Because I feel like that's their biggest original anime.
Yeah.
And like
And
I
it's
think
fucking awesome.
and again, it's
That's
like
good.
the person said in the chat earlier, like there's one really good piece of content for every like 100 pieces of like really bad content.
But I mean,
Yeah,
isn't that
but
true for everything?
Isn't that just anime?
Yeah.
It's not even anime. Like
Fair.
every streaming
Everything.
service has a ton of trash. Like, God, Amazon Prime. Sometimes you're looking through and you're like, these aren't movies.
These
That's
can't
the
be
worst one
movies.
for me. I can never find anything to watch on Prime.
Yeah. Amazon Prime, I think, is the one that is the most, if you don't hear about it from someone else, you don't know there's anything worth watching there. Like, someone needs to be like, you have to watch this on Amazon Prime, or else they just don't do a good job marketing it, because everything just looks like an ad. It doesn't look like enticing content.
That's
you know?
fair.
Speaking of enticing content, though, HBO Max kind of killing the game here. Tiny Toon Adventures reboot. And Gendy, how do you say his name? Tartakovsky?
I don't know.
Yeah, you nailed it.
Tartakovsky.
Tartakovsky.
I think so.
Yeah, Tartakovsky.
Jendi
No, not
Tarty.
TARDIS. TARDIS.
Oh, it's Gendy. It's Gendy, right? Not
Yeah.
Gendy.
Yeah. No, I was just
Oh, okay. You're
pronouncing
making
it
fun
wrong.
of me.
in person. Yeah.
I don't think I've ever said it out loud.
Yeah, I was too
anyways,
scared to
Wait,
ask.
what
Like
is
it's
he-
been like so long, and like I'm too scared to ask
Wait,
how to pronounce
he's
his name.
doing tiny. This
No,
is crazy.
no,
oh, okay.
no, Kevin,
I was
no.
like, what the fuck? Because he just did the like, what was the like the
Samurai Jack?
prehistoric
Yeah, I forget the name of it.
Primal?
primal. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I watched the first episode. It's fucking
Uh-huh.
out there, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not
Well, he's getting even
surprised.
more out here. So we got Tiny Toon Adventures reboot, and Gendy's getting a new series ordered at HBO Max and Cartoon Network. This comes from Variety. A reboot of Tiny Toon Adventures is among a number of new series order at HBO Max and Cartoon Network. The new series is titled Tiny Toons Looniversity. The half-hour animated show will feature characters from the original series, which aired from 1990 to 1992. I can't believe it was only 3 years.
I thought
Yeah,
that was
but-
like the entire like beginning to mid 90s.
Yeah.
But I guess I was just rewatching
I
it.
think it just feels long because like a lot of shows back then, especially a lot of kid shows, like a season was like a shit ton of episodes,
Yeah,
and like
22
they were also like
episodes.
they were also spreading them out. Like it wasn't every week that you were getting a new episode. SpongeBob was like at least that like specific like first 3 season era like felt like it was forever. Yeah.
Yeah, there were 98 episodes of Tiny Toon Adventures. And I guess when you put it that way, that does sound a bit more right. But man, shout out to Tiny Toon Adventures, and shout out to
Love it.
the movie they made, the made-for-TV movie. It was so
Yeah.
good. But I'm stoked about this because I haven't seen Animaniacs yet, but the trailer for it looked awesome.
Yeah, that comes out I think mid-November. And this
Oh, I
is
thought it
weird.
came out
So that's coming to Hulu, and then this is doing HBO Max. I just think it's interesting that they're kind of like
Spreading
they're
out.
splitting things up. Yeah, they're spreading things out.
So in addition, HBO Max and Cartoon Network have greenlit Unicorn Warriors Eternal from Gendy Tartakovsky. Inspired by myths and lore from across the world, the show will follow a team of ancient teen heroes as they work together to protect the world from an unforeseen omen. Throughout history, unicorns have symbolized the virtuous, appearing to ensure that goodness reigns. When the reawakening of our heroes comes too early, they find themselves in the bodies of teenagers. What the fuck? Okay, let's get weird.
He's so
The art
fucking
style's
weird,
pretty
man. I
cool,
love
though.
him.
Let me see. There it is.
It's gonna look great.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's nice.
He's amazing. But also, I'd really like to see his take on Looney Tunes. Just saying that. Now that it's been said,
I will say, Kevin, I was just as confused as you were when both of these things
The
were
headline,
trending.
right? It's a dumb-looking headline.
The trending, it made it, the way it was trending on Twitter the other day made it seem like he was heading the Tiny Toons thing. I was like, all right, let's strap in and see what this is about. How are y'all liking HBO Max, by the way, so far?
I think right now it's my number one spot to go to.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm enjoying the shit out of it.
I just watch the same things over and over again. I'm just watching Fresh Prince on it like all the time, and then I'll occasionally watch some series. Like I was watching Lovecraft Country for a bit, and then I tune in once in a while, but I often just go back to Netflix.
Yeah, I love HBO Max, and I think that it's just it's up there with just a standard. Like I can't imagine not having it because HBO shows, and that like when you just look at what HBO Max is, sure, it's not that interesting. But like when you understand that it's HBO and like there will never just be an HBO from now on, like any original show on the channel is a show on the service. It's like that makes it valuable for those big kind of tentpole moments. And it has the library. I just wish there was a bit more consistency. Like they're jumping into this in 10 years. HBO Max is going to be super dope and have every single thing you could ever want. But it's kind of a bummer to go in and like every franchise you look at, even their big DC ones, it's like, okay, they have the first movie, the second movie, the fourth movie, and the sixth movie.
Yeah,
and it's like,
exactly. And they'll just like take some away randomly on months. Like, it's like Aquaman disappeared. We're like, okay, cool. I don't understand.
Yeah, like none of the Nolan movies were on there, but I think like Batman Begins is now on there. I guess my frustration with it is just like how at least for like the devices I have here, it's just not accessible really. The only device I have in my house that plays it is my PS4 Pro. And like when the PS5 like said like, oh, these are the streaming services launching on day one, and HBO Max was not on there, I was like, fuck, am I gonna have to keep my Pro for
That
like
was such
the
a
next couple
pain.
months
Just
to be able to use HBO Max?
Get the new Chromecast. It's like $50, and it's got
I guess
30?
all that on there. Is it?
Okay.
I thought it was 50.
I think there is a $30 one you can get that's super cheap.
I'll look
I'm wrong.
into it.
I
just think
mistaken
it's just frustrating. Of like the LG TV, I think I had, or no, I forget what was before this one. TCL, I think. Like that was a smart TV. HBO Max wasn't on there. I think it was specifically because of Roku. And I get this LG, and it's a smart TV, and HBO Max is also not available on there, and it sucks. And then like, I think because just like all of my streaming apps on the PS4 Pro just like don't run well. I get a lot of buffering on HBO Max too, which is frustrating.
Yeah, because you're not hardwired in, right? For your
No, the PS4 Pro is hardwired in.
And you still
like
get buffering?
Oh yeah, it's really frustrating. Like I
That's
think
wild.
it might just be poorly optimized for the PlayStation platform. Because like we'll like get halfway through a Doctor Who episode, and then it'll buffer for like 5 minutes, and then it'll start playing again, and then it'll buffer for another 2 minutes, and then it'll like
I
don't know.
highly recommend Chromecast. Just
I'll look into it. It's just like it's frustrating of like how selective they're being on like what platforms they're actually on, which is I my main frustration. If it was more accessible, like I would be on it all of the time, just because there's a lot of content on there that I do really like.
One of
it
my
was Roku,
favorite,
and it was like Fire TV that like you just couldn't watch on. Like I have a Fire TV right behind me, and I can't watch HBO Max on it, so I like go downstairs to my old Samsung TV to watch it.
Yeah, I've literally just been like, fuck it, I'm committing to this. Like I want to watch this stuff in the best quality I can. So I have Chromecast Ultra and Fire Stick 4K or whatever. And between those two, everything's available. So it's like it sucks that you have to have that type of investment because they're dumbass like licensing deals and shit.
Is
Yeah.
there
Like
things
10
that-
streaming services, different TVs, a Chromecast.
are there
Insane.
are there streaming services like big ones that aren't on Chromecast, like you can't Chromecast to? Because like Amazon
At this
recently
point-
patched it in. I think you can do everything on.
Chromecast seems to be the most versatile, and I know a lot of people just don't like it because you have to use your phone.
Yeah.
But now with the new Chromecast,
new
you
one,
don't.
yeah.
There's a remote. So
Also, Fire TV from my test looks a little bit nicer.
always, in my experience
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
I always aim to use my Fire Stick 4K
Yeah.
before I use anything else.
And like that's shockingly cheap. I think that's $25. Right? Yeah. One last thing about HBO Max, because this is my favorite feature, and this is what I used to use when it was HBO Go. They have the last chance section. Like, this is just always my go-to of like, because it gives me an excuse to be like, oh fuck, I haven't seen V for Vendetta in hella long. And then Paula was like, oh, I haven't seen it. Literally last week we watched it, and it was like, oh, that's great. Now Stuber's on there and it's going away. I gotta watch Stuber soon. You know what I mean?
I was sad that Return of the Joker was leaving, but then I remembered I owned it anyway, so I was like, oh, okay, that doesn't really matter.
There you go. Then there's a little bit more of this Cartoon Network story. So there's 3 new projects from children's book author, illustrator, and playwright Mo Willems, who I'm not familiar with, but I just wanted to read these names to you guys. The new animated series are Unlimited Squirrels,
Okay.
a CGI animated rock special called Naked Mole Rat Gets Dressed, the Rock Special, and a
Sick.
pilot order for a live-action immersive series, Cat the Cats Show the Show with You the You.
I love it.
I love
That's
it,
a
man.
thinker.
I love
like
it. I love it. And then the last bit I wanted to bring up about this whole HBO.
Which it doesn't
Max,
surprise
Cartoon
me
Network
like that him being attached to that, because I recognize his name and he worked on Codename Kids Next Door, and so
Oh, yeah.
all of those naming conventions do not surprise me. That's fucking rad.
And then going back to the Tiny Toons thing just a little bit. This is a weird one, but I wanted to bring it up to you guys. There is a voice actress named Cree Summer who was the voice of
Rugrats.
Was she? Who was she?
What was her name? But yeah.
Was she? Oh, she was
Chucky's sister.
No,
curly hair.
God damn it!
Someone in
Why?
the chat will know.
Yeah, hold on.
Susie?
Susie Carmichael.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, dope.
Susie Carmichael's a real one.
Yeah, she
Yes.
definitely is. She was the voice of Elmira in Tiny Toons, and she
Love
tweeted out,
Elmira.
"I just got the word that Elmira will not be included in the Tiny Toons reboot with a broken heart.
Damn.
Tell
dude.
me why. Tell me why in 2020, my first gut reaction seeing this tweet was, what did Elmira do? Like, in my mind, Elmira got canceled. Like, and I literally, it took me like 3 minutes of doing research. I was looking into it and I was like, was there some controversy about Elmira? Like, and then I realized, like, what am I doing? No, like, just by happenstance, she's not in this. But anyways, Elmira, if you're out there, don't do anything stupid. Just some top level shit here. Oscar Isaac in talks to star in Moon Knight, the series on Disney Plus. Until this is confirmed,
That would be tight. I'd be all in, dude.
would be
Okay,
tight.
here's the
That would be
thing.
good.
Do you have the other 2 names that were also possibly in there?
I don't have them now, but go for it.
It was so Oscar Isaac, Daveed Diggs, and Nick Kroll. 3 very, very different actors and styles.
And let's never forget Keanu Reeves. That's his favorite character. You know
It's
what I mean?
Never forget.
It's true. Honestly, like I would love to see a Daveed
lot of good
Diggs
options,
Moon
what I'm
Knight.
saying.
I just love Daveed Diggs in general. I just want to see him in everything. But I find it fascinating that they're pulling from like such different showcases from different actors. That makes me wildly interested in how this project is going to end up.
I mean, I also think that a lot of this is bullshit and just people like kind of like this. I think these are the type of like casting rumors that just get spun out of control, and then someone heard someone else say the thing, and they're like, "Oh, I heard it from this person.
Well, Tim,
it must be verified."
I heard Rahul Kohli was going for it too.
And he might
Same.
be. You never know.
Yeah,
You never
yeah.
know. But I think the Oscar Isaac stuff is a little bit more substantiated, and with that, it reminds me of the Hawkeye casting of the girl from Bumblebee. Haley Steinfeld. Yeah. Where it's like it's confirmed, but it's not confirmed. You know, it's like once Variety and once like these like real sites like are talking about and confirming this stuff, it's or at least doing the whole in talks thing, it becomes a lot more real. But I'll believe it when I see it on a Comic-Con stage or Comic-Con Zoom call or whatever it ends up being. But I'm excited about it.
Faint Affid just said in the chat, I'd like an Aaron Paul as Moon Knight. And for a second there, I was like, that would suck. Then I thought about it. I was like, I feel like he could really do a good job with that role.
Yeah.
Really good.
Nah, I don't see it.
Sure.
I love
Aaron
him,
Paul's
but
dope,
I
man.
don't.
I
see
mean,
it.
but like the whole like schizophrenic thing, and Aaron Paul like for going. I don't know. I could see it.
Then moving on to some more superhero news here. James Gunn told Kevin Feige a lot about the Suicide Squad. Gunn told Empire he had to fill Feige in on why exactly he couldn't jump right back on Guardians of the Galaxy 3 following him being rehired on the project. Gunn told Feige he was working on a DC movie, to which Feige replied, "Is it Superman?" Gunn said that the character was a possibility for him to tackle, but it wasn't the one he chose. Interesting. Can you imagine a Gunn Superman movie?
Oh my
That
god!
would
No,
be
I
dope.
honestly can't. That would be so cool.
I can't, but I would watch the shit out of that.
But I
after-
like the possibility of him just being like, "Hey James, what do you want? You can do whatever you want. We won't get
Anything.
mad at you."
Huh? Just like pulling out a board and just like pick one.
Yeah, pick one. And I just love that Superman was an option. After telling Feige that it was a new Suicide Squad movie, Feige replied, please make a good movie. Just make a great movie." And I love that.
One
I
of
love that
us.
so much.
I love that they just support each other there. That's great.
Gunn told Feige all about the Suicide Squad's characters, including the villain, who is yet to be revealed to the public. Quote, Kevin knew who all those characters were for months before we revealed them at Fandom. He still knows who the villain is. I think he's pretty trustworthy with his NDA. So I don't think we're going to be in too much trouble. And he was... There's some other stuff, but then shifting off of the Feige stuff, he was being asked about the original Suicide Squad movie, and he said, listen, David Ayers got in trouble for the movie, said Gunn while talking to Empire. I know it didn't come out how David wanted it to come out, but he did one really, really great thing, and that is he picked fantastic actors to work with, and he dealt with those actors and building their characters in a really deep and fearless way. It's something David definitely deserves to be lauded for, and it's definitely added to this movie. It's definitely its own thing. My movie. It doesn't contradict the first movie. At least I don't think it does. It might in some small ways. I don't know.
I didn't really watch the first one.
I love James Gunn, man. I love him
I
so
know
much.
he's so cool.
And then in some news that just gets me so incredibly hyped, Creed 3 is happening, and Michael B. Jordan will reportedly direct it. Oh, what?
Wow. Wait,
Let's
really?
go. Mm-hmm.
Is this
Michael B.
not
Jordan.
exactly what happened
Oh.
with Stallone? Didn't he direct one of them too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
are we
The
gonna
one
get
with
to,
the,
like,
the one with the robot, the
Balboa,
birthday
Rocky
robot,
Balboa.
right?
Oh, that was
It
4.
wasn't just called.
No, Rocky 4.
All I think about.
I'm
is the
looking
birthday
it up.
Did that
robot,
one have a
sorry.
sub-name?
It's-
Oh,
Didn't he
Stallone
do
directed all of
6?
it. No, I forgot about this. He tried to make one for hella long, but he couldn't get money for it for a long ass time because he wrote it, wanted to star in it and direct it.
Yeah.
He
He won
directed
an
the
Oscar.
second one.
Oh,
When's
he,
the
so
third
he did
one?
not direct the first one?
He directed 2, 3,
But okay, he
and
wrote it and wanted to
4.
star in it.
At 6. He did 6. Right?
It just history is repeating
I
itself
think
in a fun
so.
way, you know?
Yeah.
He did not direct Rocky 5. Is Rocky 6 just called Rocky Balboa?
Rocky Balboa. Yeah.
Yeah, he directed that one.
Yeah. All right, so here's the deal. Here's the deal. Michael B. Jordan is reportedly set to direct Creed 3, the third installment in the film series. Buried in a report from Deadline about the possibility of No Time to Die, the James Bond movie, skipping theaters for a streaming service, it was mentioned that while MGM still considers Bond to be its crown jewel, it is also working on a Creed sequel that Michael B. Jordan is considering to direct. No further details were given, but this isn't the first time we've heard about Jordan potentially being picked to direct Creed 3. The producer, Irvin Winkler, not Henry Winkler, said, I promised Michael B. Jordan that he'd get his chance to direct Creed 3. Last year in a conversation with our Creed star, Michael B. Jordan, I offered him the opportunity to not only star in it, but also direct it, and he was very excited about that. I'm very excited about that. Creed
That's
1
really cool.
was so good. Creed 2
So good.
was like, I just couldn't even handle it from like a sexuality perspective. Like there was just so much raw appeal in that movie that I don't know how 3 can do it, because you know he's going to direct his own training montage to be the hottest thing this world has ever seen.
The
Tim.
Rocky, like the Creed, Rocky, like those movies are so much better than they have any right to be. At least the first 4 minus 3, and I haven't seen the ones other than that. And then Creed.
What's up, Barrett?
I still haven't watched Creed 1 and 2.
Oh man,
Oh,
Barrett,
you should.
you're gonna love him. You're gonna fucking love him. And
Going
no
to love
spoilers, the montage, like the equivalent of the Rocky running up the stairs moment in Creed 1 it's magical. It's anime. It is anime at its best of just pure hype where you're just like,
he is an anime
right
fan,
now?
so
He is?
and like if he's directing the third one, like think about how anime that'll be.
I
also still have yet to watch any John Wick movie while we're at it.
I'm with you, yeah. I can't wait. We're going to do that for in review.
crazy.
But leading into Creed 3, I can't imagine we don't do Rocky in review because I haven't ever seen a Rocky movie. I've only seen the Creed movies. So exciting times ahead for all of us, specifically me. 2 more quick stories. Tomb Raider 2 delayed indefinitely. I didn't even really know what was happening. Are any of you guys bummed about this?
Super bummed.
No, I mean, it was fine. The first one was fine.
Yeah, I think I watched
She did a good job.
You watched it by accident.
Where it's just like one of those things that like I have no idea like how. Maybe it was on a plane, and one of those planes you can't choose
That's
what's
a plane
on.
movie right there.
Yeah.
That is a plane movie right there.
And
I watched it on a plane.
Yeah, and I may have missed like the first 15 minutes, and it's just like it was fine, and it sucks that like I guess, but also I if I'm not excited then I guess it doesn't suck, like. You know what I mean? Like, it's too bad that it's kind
There's a
of
box
Thanks
quote
for
right
your
there.
valuable insight. But this is something that is very exciting. Adam Goldberg is pitching Goonies 2. He tweeted this out. Kev, if you could bring up the tweet, please. There's an amazing image. Big news. I tried to wait out this damn pandemic to present Richard Donner, the Goonies 2 in person, but I caved and set a Zoom meeting for it Friday. Never say die, people. The brilliant M. Barnard art created all my concept art. I don't want to give too much away, but check this out. And it is a piece of concept art where the cavern from the first movie has been turned into a museum. And that is one of the coolest premises I can imagine for this movie.
Cool. So cool. And she's got a key.
Love it. I love it. I hope this goes well. I hope the movie's good. I hope it actually happens. But we're very far away from all that stuff happening.
there's a
I
water
don't have a great
slide
segue.
sign.
What's up, Kev?
There's a water slide sign.
You know, water slides are probably something you could buy on a website somewhere, Kev.
It's true.
And you could probably get a sweet deal using Honey. Ladies and gentlemen, this episode is brought to you by Honey. These days, it feels like online shopping is the only shopping we ever really do. That's where Honey comes in. It's the free browser extension that scours the internet for promo codes and automatically tests them when you're checking out. Honey's basically your online shopping best friend. I can attest to that. Kev can attest to this. Kind of Funny as a whole can attest to this. I installed this thing years ago, and it's just been saving me thousands of dollars without even me thinking about it. Any site I go to, whether it's something like Best Buy, something like Etsy, whatever it is, you just go. Over 30,000 websites are supported. And you order whatever you want. You put it into your sweet little cart. When you hit checkout, it runs this little algorithm thing, little Honey guy dances, and then it applies the best coupon code for you. You save money without even doing anything. It is utterly fantastic and so easy to install. Just a couple clicks installs it. You never need to think about it again. If you have a computer, Honey should be on it. It's free and works with whatever browser you use. You can get Honey for free today at joinhoney.com/morning. That's joinhoney.com/morning. You can go, you can try to buy a water slide and get a sweet, sweet deal by joinhoney.com/morning so they know that we sent you. Thank you again, Honey, for supporting this episode. Back to the show. And now it's time. Such is our code. This is the way. The Mandalorian, Season 2, Episode 1, Chapter 9, The Marshal. Can we just start for a second? I just want to say, I appreciate that they're straight up just calling this Chapter 9. Like, has a show ever done that before? None that I know of that are just like crossing over seasons. And they're just, we're just gonna continuing the numbering.
I feel like there was one and I can't think of what it was.
The only thing that I can think of is Avatar, but they don't do like each season is a book,
books, yeah.
so they didn't cross over seasons for that.
Yeah, I just love it. I think it's super, super damn cool. Let's stay spoiler free for just a second. We'll make it very clear when we're moving into spoilers. Chastity, what are your thoughts of the Season 2 opener?
Loved it. I just rewatched Season 1, and it's keeping up the same pace, keeping up the same level of excitement, and Baby Yoda. Who doesn't love Baby Yoda, aka the child right here? But yeah, I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed the cameos and guest stars that we got in this. I don't know if that's spoilery or not, but they fit in really well, and I loved the action a lot.
Barrett?
I think this was a solid first episode. And to give context, like I enjoyed season 1. I think there are a lot of great highs, a few weird lows. And there are some things in this episode that reminded me of some of the lows from season 1. And like, again, without really getting into spoilers, I think like the premise, ignoring like all the other cool stuff that this episode does, I think like the basic premise of this episode, I don't think we needed 55 minutes of. I did think that this episode kind of lingered a little bit here and there. But also like it's serving cool scenes and stuff like that. So I think it was a solid return to form. I wasn't expecting it to fully get into the action of like what this entire season is going to be about, but I was expecting maybe a little bit more than what we got today. But I enjoyed it.
Kev?
I was very critical of the last season, and I think that they certainly improved on certain things. Like one, like there was still the emptiness that kind of makes it feel like it's on, a lot or in their like crazy thing. So I feel like they did a better job moving away from that, where they had more people around. The sets looked like they were dirtier. So they looked
like
more
lived in
a little bit more lived in. There still was some emptiness to it, but I mean, also it's a desert planet, so like there's a lot of like open spaces. But overall, I think this episode certainly has my attention. There were some things like Barrett is saying that were like, oh, you don't have to spend this much time here, but like there were also some things that like. The end of the episode, I was like, oh,
yeah,
you very much have my attention. What are you doing right here? So like that definitely
what an ending.
Yeah, that definitely left me wanting more, or at least answer the question. I really hope that episode 2 starts and it's more connected than I felt like the first season was.
And really quick, just to kind of clarify, because John Bob Stab in the chat says, I just don't think we're ever going to get the linear storyline that peeps are looking for. And that's not necessarily what I'm looking for. Like, I've compared this season 1 of The Mandalorian to like a lesser live action version of Cowboy Bebop, which I think that they're trying to do Cowboy Bebop in a live action kind of setting here, but they're just not nailing it as well. Like I'm fine with the kind of like going back and forth between like a smaller storyline connecting to like the overarching thing. I don't think they quite nail that balance all the time for this show.
Yeah, for me, I think that this is either my first or second favorite episode of the series so far. And I would say that it's right behind or ahead of the season finale last time. And I think that one, perfect. It was so good. It was a good, like kind of, it all built to it. And that kind of like gave me the most of what I wanted from the show. Cause I would prefer to get a type of plot like week to week that we're expanding on. Cause like, that's what I like to see. I don't really like the more aimless, like side story stuff, but that's not what the show is. Like, I think that whatever his name in the chat, Bobo92, was getting at is like, I don't think we're going to see it because that's not what the show is. And I think that this season premiere solidified to me the things I like about the show and the mind space I need to be in to enjoy it at maximum capacity, which is essentially there's a whole bunch of things happening that might come back at some point. And seeing characters that we were introduced to in the middle episodes of season 1 kind of just pop up in this one gives me like hope that I'm like, oh, they're building out this universe. And while I might not give a shit about these people or the things that they're doing when they happen, when they pop up again, it's not just like the member berries type, like, oh, I know you. It's more of like, oh, there is a world that's being built,
and it makes sense that
Mandalorian.
And it like makes sense that this character is popping up, whether or not we love them or not. That there are aspects of that today's episode that reminded me a little bit of like how they built characters in Clone Wars and Rebels as well.
So let's get into full spoiler mode so we can just stop beating around the bushes some of the things we want to say. We're going in. Spoiler time, baby. Let's go. Where do you want to start, Barrett?
Really quick, Cool G watched like the first couple minutes of this episode? 'Cause he would love this planet for all of the.
Oh my god!
for all the
Space graffiti,
tagging. Yes.
dude. Shout out to the tagging. It was so cool. I love that there was like I'm not sure of this, but it definitely felt like they were hinting at like battle droids in some of the artwork.
and like
There was,
some of like the snowtrooper like outfits I think that were tagged on there too, which was really cool.
What's up, Chastity?
Yeah. There was like stormtrooper helmets that were crossed out on there. Yeah, but it
So
looked really
cool.
good. Yeah.
But it was
I
a bit much. Like this is one of those moments where I was like, how does this much happen? Like this is one of those moments that felt like, okay, they've improved it, but they may have gone a little too far.
I like that they kind of teased a little bit when they like go into that fight club or whatever. The Gamorreans are fighting, and that was like almost like a foreshadowing of like where the rest of the episode was going, into like what the rest of the episode related to, and just like that first like fight where like he's being taken from like every side, and he realizes that, I don't know if he realized in that moment, but he kind of realized in that fight at least of like, oh, they're getting really fucked up if they try to hit the best car, and then he uses his helmet to like hit back at someone else. It was really, really cool. That fight was so dope.
That fight to me, like that opening scene of this show, of this episode, really like is what I'm talking about. This season cementing what the show was from the first season, where he's a badass. We've known him now long enough that he's not just this like nameless guy in armor. We know his name, we know his character, we know what he stands for, we know where he's going, all that stuff. And for him to sit there to do the classic Mandalorian walk with Baby Yoda through these like dark alleys with the space graffiti and these like weird little the red eyes and stuff, it felt so Star Wars in a way that I appreciate. We're so used to seeing cantinas over and over and over, so I liked seeing the outside kind of like match that grime level. Getting into the fight club, I was immediately hit with like the budgetary talks of this, where I'm like, the fight did not look great. Like,
and like even the Gamorreans themselves looked a little off as well.
My thing is, I was okay with how they
I thought
looked.
it was fine.
I didn't like how the effects of the weapons they were
Oh
using.
yeah, like the
right,
kind of
right,
like
yeah, that was
wind
weird.
effect or like shield effect that
'Cause
was happening.
It happened on his suit too when they shot at him, right? On his chest. It had something similar.
I think so.
And I think they just added that effect to kind of like, they're like, this just looks weird, like dorky, having these two guys kind of like punch at each other. Like they don't look good enough to like sustain our believability for this. And I feel like that took me out a little bit. But again, it's like, cool. It is what the show is. Like, I understand. Like, I can't ask for more. There's these things fighting. Pretend it looks better than it does. I can move on.
I thought they had like Dune-like shields, but that doesn't make any sense. So we can move on.
Then we get him talking to the dude,
The cameo.
who is John Leguizamo.
Wait, he's the alien?
He's the
He's
alien,
the Cyclops.
man.
Oh,
Wow.
that's crazy.
Did not notice that at all.
I didn't catch it the first time. Then in the credits, it said in order of appearance, John Leguizamo. I was like, wait, hold on. I'm like, yep, that was him. That was
I
him.
don't
And I
believe
to go back and
anybody
listen to his
caught it.
voice.
There's no way someone was
certainly-
like,
I mean, he had
that's
so
John
much.
Leguizamo.
He had so much makeup on, and he was doing a very different voice. John Leguizamo has a very distinct voice, and that alien. I mean, damn. Now I want to rewatch the start at least to like hear it and see if I can see it.
Yeah.
You could hear hints of his accent, but it's completely not obvious at all. It blew my mind, but yeah.
So funny.
And also, you haven't seen that species in a while. There's not a lot of Abyssins. But
Damn,
cool.
Chastity. Yeah. But I love this scene because it happens quick enough to get to the point, but it doesn't like go too fast. Like, I like that we get the fight scene, the build up to the fight scene where they're having the dialogue about I want your armor. Like, oh, do you bet? Like all that stuff. Then he like shoots the guy. It's exciting. Some of it is a little cheesy and whatever, but again,
It fits.
I'm okay with it because it fits, because it leads up to the Mandalorian music playing while the Mandalorian
like
fucks
right
people
when
up.
the fight ends, I was gonna bring that up too. Like right when it ends, and then like the theme pops up, and I was like, I'm back in, baby. Like
Dude, I
that
love
opening
it.
is so strong for me. I really liked the opening for this episode.
And that's my thing. They earned it. Like Mandalorian season 1, we can think whatever we did about it, but I think that where we're at with 2, when we hear the Mandalorian theme, we're like, let's fucking go. That means they did something good, right? Like, I feel like that to me is where I'm starting this season off, and I hope that it maintains this, because moving on after that opening scene, when they're like, you got to go to Tatooine, I kind of rolled my eyes. I was like, are we really going back to Tatooine?
Before we get to Tatooine, though, I love when he hangs John from the light pole, and he's like, "You won't die by my hands," and he shoots the light so it gets all dark and like all those like scary creatures go around him. I was like, that is cold-blooded shit, Mando, and I love it. I love this energy that we're bringing into 2020.
I do wish there was a little bit of setup where someone was like, "Make keep a light" or something, where it's just like, "Oh, what? This planet just has weird aliens where there's no, or attacking when there's no light."
Like a little visual context for it.
I mean, it made sense, but I just didn't know it was a pitch black world. That's all I'm saying.
But then, so yeah, we go to Tatooine, and then immediately we see Amy Sedaris' character, which was definitely my least favorite. Sedaris, my least favorite character from season 1. But
really,
even having said that,
yeah, absolutely, 100%.
And it maintains with the way she acts in her dialogue in this. I was like, I don't like it, but it was fine. Because again,
it was her and it was that kid bounty hunter, and I didn't like both of them, but I liked her slightly more than I liked him.
Yeah, both of them. That's why, like, I think that's the weakest episode from season 1, and I think a lot of it is because of both of them. Her acting reminds me of like the kind of like overacting you get from like when famous stars have to record something for like a Disney park ride. There's like they go like a little over, like they go a little overacting, like 15%. That's what Amy Sedaris is doing, and it's like, I'm not on a Disney park ride right now. I'm trying to watch a Star Wars, and it's like, if she brought it down like 15%, I think she would actually fit the tone of the show, but she just stands out like a sore thumb.
But that's what she does. Like, in everything she is, you know what I mean?
They shouldn't have got her then.
No, I know.
They should have gotten someone else.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, whoever got her,
and I like her in other things too,
must have known that that's what she was gonna do, right? Like,
I mean, it's purposeful. I mean, you can tell.
They have so many comedians in the show.
Yeah, it's cool. It's just, I think that she doesn't fit, and this is another example of it. But again, it didn't bother me that much. Just like the effects of the fight, I was just kind of like, all right, she wasn't in that much. She was in enough to like kind of just give the context, and I appreciated it where it's like, they're building a world here. Of course, he would go leave his ship there. Asto
Goose points out, I do like that he is cooler with droids now. I noticed that too. It was like, oh, because of his experience with IG-11, he's like a little more like, yeah, they can fucking work on my ship. Fine, whatever. I like that little bit of character progression there.
Did we ever find out why he hates droids?
Because of
his situation
Clone
when
Wars.
he got orphaned.
Yeah, remember when the droid army killed his parents?
So the answer is yes. Don't get all mad. It's very.
So then, yeah, just moving on. I immediately
in the chat came as like, they murdered his whole family, and it's like, it's not often that is the answer to a question.
We get a little cameo here from R5, who was the droid that Luke called Red in A New Hope. I guess it's now chilling with this woman.
That's the one that like kind of blew up, and then he chooses R2, and then when they show another shot of R2, then Red 5 is behind R2, totally fine. It's one of those like weird things where it's like a inconsistency in that movie, and every time that George Lucas goes back to fix things, he never fixes that shot. And it annoys both my dad and I to an nth degree that is undescribable.
One thing I wanted, a line that I wrote down that I just love, that he says once, and I'm like, that is so cool. And then he says it again, and I'm like, I actually think I really love this show. It is, I've been quested to join him with his kind. I love that is how The Mandalorian is putting his what the plot of this show is he is on a quest to bring Baby Yoda to his kind. And that sets the tone for me of, hey guys, this show is just a video game in show form. And I think that we got hints of it last season where like we get the armor upgrade, we get all that stuff. This episode was a straight up mainline mission in a dope RPG. And it's like, you got to fight this giant monster at the end and all that stuff and all the things that they're doing.
Dune worm.
And it also, the thing is straight up from KOTOR. The crate dragon.
I knew it was something from another Star Wars thing, but to me, my immediate thought, and everybody else on Twitter, this was Michael Bay's Alaskan Bullworm. Alaskan Bullworm is an episode of SpongeBob where they have to fight a really big worm, and it just reminded me of that, but a Michael Bay version of it.
Y'all need to pay more attention to Dune. All right, I'm keep saying Dune stuff. No one's reacting. I don't like it.
No, I'm reading it currently, but I'm excied for the movie.
Yeah, reading's for nerds,
yes.
though. I was saying, like,
Dune's
watch
Kevin,
it's
the
hard.
Kevin,
What?
pick or choose.
It's
Pick
hard.
or choose.
I meant the sci-fi miniseries. Tim.
But anyways, I really just I appreciate it when you look at it through the lens of like this is a video game show that works and functions that way. Like I said it when I watched Kubo and the Two Strings, that's the best video game movie to ever exist. Like I feel like this isn't the best video game TV show to ever exist, but it could be. It just needs to like keep it up and like keep kind of enhancing itself a little bit more. But then we get the reveal of Boba motherfucking Fett, or so we think. And I was all about it because when you see him, I'm like, he looks stupid. What the fuck are they
I was
doing
like,
right
this
now?
guy's
and
way
I
too
immediately
tall.
I was like, that's not Boba. That's absolutely not Boba because he looks so awkward, and I think that's kind of the point that they're trying to like.
Oh,
he just
totally.
does
It
not
was,
fit
yeah.
with this. But yeah, if you'd asked me a week ago if I thought Timothy Oliphant would ever look bad in any type of suit, I would be like, no, he's one of the most handsomest people ever. There's no way he would look dumb in anything. And then you would show me this episode. I was like, oh, I guess I'm proven wrong because he looked dumb in that suit.
Yeah.
But
I loved it.
Yeah, I think he was supposed to, kind of, right? Like,
Yeah, no, absolutely.
after that reveal
It's
of like,
absolutely
yeah.
intentional.
Also, I originally thought when they revealed him, just because I'm an idiot, I was like, I live reacted, I was like, Josh Duhamel? I was like, oh, wait, no. Other kind
They
of
do
vaguely
look alike.
generic white
They do
handsome
look
man.
alike.
Yeah.
Yeah, but imagine like him getting approached for Star Wars and him getting really excited. He's like, "What do I get to play?" And it's like the same role you've been playing for years.
Yep,
It's
yep.
Just a Western sheriff.
But you get
Just
to
like
wear
Deadwood,
Boba Fett's
just like
armor.
Justified. Yeah.
I mean, I feel like that's like, all right, I'm in. I am
Yeah.
in.
Yeah. Well, I'm
And
your
so
guy.
what's cool about this is I remember a couple years ago when the Star Wars universe kind of rebooted with or at least the expanded universe stuff, right? And like the books started coming out, and there was the Aftermath novels. And I remember I didn't read them, but I
He's
remember
in that,
watching
yeah.
YouTube breakdowns and stuff. And like there was interludes in that, like in between chapters, that were building the story of like, oh, there's someone being seen on Tatooine wearing Boba Fett's armor, and like they gave kind of like some light stuff. So that's all I really knew. So to see it in this and the backstory they give him, and like I just was along for the ride so much, where I loved the twist, loved seeing him, loved his character and like his personality, and like just him being called the Marshal, like everything about that I was there for. The Jawas kind of like getting him in the Sandcrawler and him getting the armor that way, all of it was like, this is fan fiction, but it's working for me so well.
Right.
No, yeah, it worked for me. Like, and it worked so well where it was like when he takes off the helmet and I'm like, are they just showing us? And then it's just like, oh no, he's a phony. I got like viscerally angry and was like, how could he have gotten the armor? And then they answered it. So like I was so relieved.
And they,
yeah.
like, yeah, because I had that like kind of knee-jerk reaction. I was like, how did they get this? And I like the kind of slow reveal of like the Jawas found it, and like once like he had mentioned like he had bought it off of Jawas, like my immediate thought was like, all right, Boba's alive. He's got to be around somewhere because there's no way that armor alone made it out. So he had to have found a way out. And I like that they like slowly kind of build up throughout the entire episode with that.
Does the
was good.
Sarlacc
That
pit
was
not have
good.
like a butt somewhere? Like sticking out of like a mountain or something?
Well,
where it's
you
just, like,
get
armor-
digested, isn't it? Like the Sarlacc pit, you get digested for like hundreds of years or
Yeah,
something like
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
C-3PO says so.
But no, I mean, when that happened, I was like, all right, cool. Like, I'm actually okay if, like, all we get is that, like, they picked up his armor off some, you know, where it's like, it could end there. And then when we get to the end and there's that little...
Yeah, that's my thing, Barrett. Like you said that, like you saw it coming, you knew that Boba was alive. For me, it wasn't a guarantee, and for me, for sure, didn't expect to see it in this episode. Like I thought that if Boba was, and that's the thing, is it Boba? It probably is.
Probably
absolutely.
is.
Like,
Oh, yeah,
there's no
age-wise
way that they would. Yeah,
they
like
got
age wise,
Timur
that like.
Morrison.
Yeah, they aged
Yeah.
twice
But
as
Barrett,
fast.
but Barrett, What if it's just Rex? What if it's just some Clone Wars
No,
motherfucker?
they age twice as fast, right?
Well, no. Here's the thing: is that Boba, Django, when Django wanted his own clone son, he didn't do the aging thing on him. Like,
Right.
he requested that he like.
No, that's what I'm saying. But
Like-
all the other ones age twice as fast, right? So
Yeah,
that they
but, like,
can physically mature.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
That's why
Rex and
this guy's
Rebels,
age
and
doesn't look
like
right.
Rebels takes place roughly like 9 years before this. Like Rex looks a little older 9 years ago before the events of this movie or this show. So I think he's right around there because you have to imagine in episode 2, he's got to be like 11 or 12, and then this is roughly 30 years after that. So I think he's roughly looking around the proper age, but all like
I don't know that
kind
he
of
does.
fucked up.
That's
Really?
the thing. The getting fucked up part is like that makes sense, and I'll give it to
I
him.
almost
if
didn't
there's, like, it
recognize
aged
him
more.
because like even his eyebrows were fucked up, and I was like, wait,
Right.
who is this? And I had to like actually like pay attention.
But yeah, they had already rumored that he was going to be making an appearance, so people already had a theory that he was going to be playing Boba Fett. So like that
Right.
kind of solidified it once we saw this scene for me. I was just like, yep.
Yeah,
But just hear me out. Hear me out. I think it is Boba. But what if we somehow get a scene with him playing multiple characters?
Oh my god.
I mean, that would be cool.
fucking awesome, right? And like I don't even follow any of that. I've Wikipedia'd some stuff with the what was the name of the troop that like goes rogue
Bad, right?
Fives.
with five.
Fives is the one that like kind of is close to discovering the Emperor or Palpatine's plans, and or maybe it's not Fives, but I think Fives is the first one that died.
Yeah,
from it.
it's. I just think like that was a moment that I did not expect to be anywhere near like that excited, and like I really hope that they do a good job peppering this throughout the season. Like I don't need another moment for another 2 episodes. Like that's fine, or maybe at least not in the next episode, you know. But like I hope that they build to something.
Also, it can't be Rex because if you're gonna play Rex, you got to have that really nice beard that he has in Rebels. So that's all I'll say.
Yeah. But anyways, I obviously the end was like get hype, crazy shit. Like I hope they go somewhere interesting with it. But everything in between, I loved the Tusken Raiders, like kind of like making them a bit more, humanized and like
Yeah, and I
not
like
just
that
bad guys.
they brought that back too from like the little hint from season 1 of like he knows how to communicate with them and not like immediately anger them and stuff like that. And I like that we got like a little tease of that in this episode, and then they went like all in on it, and I really liked that. And one of my notes was like, is Luke just a racist? Because he was just like, oh, they're just the worst. But I guess like any like race on Tatooine that isn't a Tusken Raider is like, oh yeah, they're just fucking terrible. So they're all kind of racist towards the Tusken Raiders.
I mean, like it's just one of those tricky ones where like everyone treats them bad, and then they got to do what they have to survive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just there was no communication,
Yeah.
so it makes total sense. And yeah, I really liked that they doubled down on this from the first season.
And then the big fight with the dragon itself, I felt like it went on a little bit long, but every time I started feeling like it was dragging, something would happen where I'm just like, holy shit, this is awesome. Like when we get both of them flying up on the jetpacks and the music's playing, I was just
Yeah.
like, what?
And it looked
Seeing
good.
Boba Fett use his toy thing
Now-
is awesome.
Oh yeah.
It did bother me the first time he used it because it looked so dumb, in the flashback.
I love it.
Where
Yeah.
like he was like, okay, let me just
A little
but, like,
down a little bit.
I
Yeah.
can also see it being his like first time using it, but how dope was it when the little thing comes down and it like
Oh, the
helps him
visor?
and it's like whoa.
Yeah, I love that they brought that back. And then, like, yeah, for me, it was just like, all right, we're getting a little long. Like, when I started feeling this entire sequence was too long, it was like right when he defeated it in just the coolest way possible, where he kind of sacrifices himself. I didn't realize at the beginning that they had put all of the explosives around. I forget the name of
Bantha.
that. Yeah, the bantha. I was like, oh my god, they're just gonna blow up this poor bantha.
I know. It was so sad.
And
It doesn't
I
like
love that
bandits.
he used his shock thing on inside the worm so long that he had to come up for air and let him out. That was just so freaking cool.
Also, he was
Yeah.
just willing to do that, and he was just like, "You take care of the kid." It's like you've known him for a day.
I know.
Like, you're gonna
Yeah.
do
but
what?
I
And
feel
he's doing this
sacrifice
for
yourself
armor,
right
man.
now?
This wasn't even to find information about getting the child to his kind or anything. This was just straight up yeah, I need this fucking armor.
And so here's the thing. You guys know me. You know I love a good get hype moment. And I feel like this fight totally was that. The builds with the music, with literally a dude in Boba Fett armor with the Mandalorian using his sick ass weapons. All that shit was really cool. But the aspect ratio change. When they start the fight, did you guys notice that it went
I
full
did.
screen? And I'm like, this is awesome. And it then allowed, it worked two ways. It was fucking epic, going huge.
When it
and
built
then
into it, and then when they leave
the
it.
end,
At the end.
it
So
goes
good.
back to the cinema,
Beautiful.
and we see the speeder go by. We see the two sons, and then the fucking Boba Fett reveal. It's like that's how you end a season premiere.
Good job, John Favreau.
Yeah,
Good job.
and I was surprised to learn that he wrote this as well. This felt like a Filoni, this felt kind of like an okay episode from Clone Wars to me. And I like Clone Wars, and there's a lot of things in this episode that I felt would have translated better to a cartoon, just with some dialogue here and there. But I still think ultimately it was a good episode. I was just surprised Favreau was the one who wrote it. Now here's my question: is I don't know if it's confirmed or if it's just rumored casting, but we might be getting Sabine from Rebels, Bo-Katan from Rebels as well. Do we think we're gonna get Boba crossover with that whole Mandalorian part of it too, or do we think that Boba's just gonna have his own kind of side story that doesn't connect with any of that? Because I would love to see Boba try to connect to the Mandalorian culture. Because Django was, I think, originally a Mandalorian who, the Mandalorian government was yeah, we don't associate with him anymore. I don't know.
Aren't there rumors and speculation that he had just gotten the armor somehow and was fronting?
Yeah, I think so. It's a little hazy, but from what I remember,
Disavowed Mandalorian people are saying.
yeah,
so
he was
maybe-
he was a
yeah.
disavowed. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really interested. I think, it's so early. We only
Yeah.
have one episode so far, so it's hard for me to kind of tell where this season's going. But from what we know about casting stuff and just from how last season went, I wouldn't be surprised. And we know that season 3 is already being worked on. To me, that kind of leads me to believe that season 1 was about setting it up so that this episode feels earned. That this season feels earned of there's now a world that we believe in for Mandalorian, so that when music plays, we feel something. When character interactions happen, we care. And they've done that. I think season 2 is about to blow it up even more and introduce a lot more big characters, characters we're familiar with, to expand the storyline so that there could be a bunch of branching paths so that we are invested a bit more when there's side stories happening, because then there's an actual plot there. And I think that season 3 might bring it all together a bit more. But maybe I'm just being hopeful. I don't know. But I'm excited to see where it goes, because there's a lot. I'm more interested now in multiple plots, whereas last season I was just what's going on with the baby?
Yeah, and I'm and this was something I was really interested in season 1, and I hope they eventually get there, just because we think we're getting a couple more established Mandalorian characters of what happened to this race and culture in the last 6-7 years, because at least when we last saw them in Rebels, it still was a kind of a big group of people, and now by the end of a couple of years after Return of the Jedi, they're now all of these broken up smaller tribes, and I am wondering if we get any answers to that of what happened to the Mandalorian people during the events essentially of the original trilogy.
Oh, speaking of that, I loved essentially them watching the news as the second Death Star exploded. That was such a fun bit of them on Tatooine and all celebrating, watching the Death Star explode. I was like, what a cool way to just tie it back and give us a little thing of the on the ground, what the real world would look like.
I also really, really like the second Death Star, and it was
Yeah.
The second
Yeah.
one.
Really quick on that scene. Oh, and we didn't bring this up. His speeder is absolutely Anakin's
I
old
literally.
pod racer.
So I watched
yeah.
this. I think I started watching it at 11:45, and at 12. let's say 12:15. Like, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Like 12:15, I texted Tim and was just like,
Yeah.
it's what am I saying? It's a
Pod
pod
racer.
racer, like
Pod racer.
jet.
Yeah. And I just
Yeah.
saw that text and I was so fucking frustrated, Kevin, because my Disney Plus, too many people were trying to watch at that time, so I couldn't watch.
Sorry, Tim.
It's all good. It's all good. I'd
Yeah.
stayed up. Like I was tired and I was like, I'm staying up. I'm going to watch this. And it just would not play for me. Like it would have to buffer every like 3 minutes. And I was like, so I woke up this morning to watch, but I was looking and the speeder goes, I'm like, that's not a pod racer. What the fuck's Kevin talking about?
Yeah.
And then the second speeder comes and I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
There it is, man.
I love that
The
little
sound
just
design.
like
It's so good.
Oh, it was
Yep.
so good, and I love that little attention to, like filling in your head of like how this piece of Anakin's pod racer ended up on this other side of the planet over the years is just fun little stuff that
Did it
that I
look
appreciate.
like Anakin's though?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
It was like
he
a
had custom
slightly
built.
modified. It was like yellow, right?
Yeah,
This one
it
was red.
Yeah.
like the kind of parts around it were red, but like he had customly built that pod racer, and like that is
But
absolutely
yeah.
like the side of the like one of his parts.
Engines.
My one frustration about that scene is that they're just they're on speeder bikes and they're just casually talking like there's no loud noises
Yeah.
around them, and I was like, that's not how this works. Timothy, you got to be speaking up a little bit there. It was just like one little detail where I was like, okay.
But I loved it. I love pod racing, man. Like I hope that at some point in some actual canon media, we get another pod race. Like just give it to me. Just give it to me. Until next week, ladies and gentlemen, let us know in the comments below what your favorite pod racer is.
Mine's
Chastity,
Saboba.
where can people find you?
I'm on Twitter and Instagram at chastity_v, and you can find me on GameSpot Universe, where I have a full video of all the Easter eggs from this episode of The Mandalorian going up later today. So check that out, youtube.com/GameSpot Universe.
Awesome.
That's where I go to see if I've missed anything. So y'all do good work over there.
Thank
Go
you.
check it out. Go support the homie. Thank you very much, Chastity, for joining us for this. Like I said, she's going to be joining us hopefully for all the episodes if scheduling permits. That's very exciting. We'll be doing screencasts like this for the rest of the year, I want to say, throughout till the end of Mandalorian. So it's exciting times. Barrett, thank you for joining us.
Mid-December.
Yeah, exactly. At some point, WandaVision's going to start. It's an exciting time for everybody,
Jesus.
right? Anyways, till next time. Love you guys.
Tim,
Bye.
remember when Ben Quadrino's engines wouldn't start and he was like
Ben
pressing all
Quadaneros.
Quadaneros.
Quadaneros, you're right, and then it shot everywhere. That's crazy.
That was.